Hey, it's Emily and welcome to a brand new video. Today I'm bringing to you the books that got me into reading. I've just noticed the line down my front from where my t-shirt was folded. So today I'm going to be going through a few of the books that got me into reading as a teenager and also the books that kind of transitioned me into adult reading, I suppose. I would say me getting into reading was heavily down to my school librarian. Shout out Mr. Homer. I have always read, like it's something that I've always done throughout my life. I read regularly, like before bed. I used to set an alarm half an hour before I needed to before school so that I could read for half an hour. So it's something I always did, but I wasn't necessarily a quick reader, so it would take me ages to read books. So my total books per year was actually quite small until a certain time in my early teenage years that kind of opened me up to a whole world of reading that I wasn't involved in. So I have 8 books I'm going to quickly go through. Most of them are YA books that I kind of read during that kind of formative reading year time, I guess. And yeah, once again, big shout out to Mr. Homer at my school library because he introduced me to a whole new world of reading. So let's jump on in to the first book I'm going to talk about, which is right behind me. And it is The Repossession by Sam Hawksmoor. As you can see, this is a well-loved edition. Now, as you can see, there's a little sticker on the front and spine, and this says the 2013 shortlist ABAs. So the ABAs was a book awards that I did from 2013. My school opened up this like reading enrichment. So in my school, we had the last 2 periods every Wednesday. We could basically do an activity we wanted. So throughout that time, I did baking enrichment, cycling, tennis. There was like film club. You could just have the last 2 periods every Wednesday afternoon. It was when they rehearsed the school musical, dance competitions. I did gardening enrichment one time. And when I was in year 8, they introduced the reading enrichment and I was like, okay, I like reading, I'll sign up for that. And it ended up being the Amazing Book Awards. So our librarian, Mr. Homer, he had signed our school up to the Amazing Book Awards, where we read the 5 books that made the shortlist for the book awards, went along to the award ceremony, met the authors, and we could also enter competitions. So I did meet Sam Hawksmoor. This is a very special book to me. This is a kind of dystopian book. Is it dystopian? More sci-fi, I guess. It follows Jeannie and her mother is kind of crazy. In her town, loads of kids have been going missing and her mother thinks that she's going to be like possessed by the devil and thinks that she's going to be next. Her mother locks her in her bedroom, like puts bars on the windows, everything. And then one day her boyfriend Ryan breaks her out and they're kind of on the run. And then they meet this farmer and they're kind of discovering where these missing kids are going. And it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy, but I really, really enjoyed it and I really want to reread the sequel soon. I'd never read like a dystopian or sci-fi like this before, so it really opened my eyes to like kind of a whole new genre, as I kind of really just read like Michael Morpurgo before this and that sort of thing. I would just go into like a bookstore and pick up a random book, whereas this, yeah, I hadn't really read anything like this before, so it really opened my eyes up to a whole new kind of genre of reading. Similarly, another book that was in that shortlist in 2013 was Slated by Terry Terry. I remember really loving this trilogy. I've read the trilogy. I actually reread it in I think 2018, 2019, which is when I tabbed it up, and I hate the tabs, like what is going on here. Once again, got it signed. I'm pretty sure I have the whole trilogy signed because Terry Terry actually won that year. This book won the 2013 ABAs and the winner would get to host the next year. So Terry Terry was there the next year, which is where I got the rest of the trilogy signed. This is another dystopian, so this is in the future. It follows Kyla and her mind has been wiped. And what happens in this time is the government basically wiped the minds of young criminals to stop them reoffending and reintroduce them into society, as opposed to putting them into like young offenders units, whatever they're called, like prison basically, to kind of prevent them from going on. They're giving them a second chance of life basically. All Carla knows at this point is that the government claimed she was a terrorist, and what they do is with these people that they've wiped the minds of, they introduce them into like new families and they have little things on their wrist called levos. They're like a watch and it kind of tracks their moods. So if someone gets too angry or too upset, it kind of just knocks them out to kind of prevent them from falling back into their old habits of committing crime. So yeah, but she kind of wants to know more. She kind of wants to know more about her past. And so it goes from there. This is another series I want to reread. I have the prequel, Fated, on my TBR, which I haven't read yet, so I do want to read it soon. I'm kind of tempted though to reread the whole trilogy because I can't really remember the plot from the rest of the trilogy before going into this one, so yeah. But this was another book that kind of really introduced me to a whole new world of reading, so there we go. So the next book that I'm going to talk about is The Knife of Never Letting Go by Patrick Ness. Now I have the World Book Night edition from 2013. Mr. Homer, my old school librarian, he gave this to me in the library. I'm pretty sure he just got a load of the free copies for World Book Night and recommended this book to me and just gave it to me, said just take it. I think he was meant to have them for the library, but I read this and I fell in love with Patrick Ness. This is where my love of Patrick Ness started, thanks to Mr. Homer in 2013. He gave me this book, but it was just such a fascinating read for me at the time. Like, I was 13. Like, this is such a battered copy. I love it so much. I've reread it once, I think, since then. Love the whole world. I'm so excited for the books that are coming in 2026, the continuation or like the spin-off series from the Chaos Walking trilogy. I do feel like the movie was kind of a disappointment. I think it was cool as a movie. I felt like as a standalone movie, like if you just looked at it as a movie, it was good. But as a representation of the books, I was a bit underwhelmed, I think. But yeah, this started my love of Patrick Ness. He became such a big part of my channel a few years ago. And yeah, I have all of his books pretty much, apart from his like new middle grade ones. My first car was named Todd after Todd in the Chaos Walking trilogy. But yeah, this just has a special place in my heart. I just need to reread the rest of the series before the new ones come out. So now I'm going to move on to some romances. I hadn't really read romance until this point, but around the age of like 14, I want to say, I started reading a couple books that were on like Wattpad. I never really read fan fiction, but it was kind of like, yeah, just like cheesy bad boy romances. And one of them that really stuck out to me was The Bad Boys Girl by Blair Holden. I do have the second one there. There is a third one, which I don't own, but I did read it on Wattpad. I loved being in this world. So this follows Tessa and Cole. Cole's a bad boy. He's Mr. Popular, and Tessa, funnily enough, is a really quiet girl. I'm pretty sure her old best friend was Nicole, who's now like the queen bee. It says, tall, gorgeous as hell, a bad boy with ocean blue eyes and the perfect edge of adorability. He was her greatest tormentor and her number one enemy, but the guy that's come back is like no one Tessa has ever come across. Oh my god, yeah, he went to like boarding school or something, like he went to like military school because he was such a bad boy. I forgot about that. Maybe I should reread these. Picking up these books is making me want to reread them all. He challenges her, he tests her limits, he forces her to bring out the girl she had long ago buried under a veil of mediocrity. And most of all, he compels her to consider that perhaps the boy that infuriates her to the point of no return might just be her guardian angel. I will say there is a trigger warning for SA in one scene towards the start of this, which I kind of wasn't prepared for as like a 14-year-old, but I loved the characters and just loved the world, and it just, yeah. I just used to love reading these kind of romances on Wattpad. Another one that I haven't mentioned here because it's not like a physical book is Mr. Popular and I. Me and my friend used to love that. We ate it up. Mr. Popular and I was like probably my favourite. I can't remember who wrote that though, but I'm pretty sure it's still on my account if I was to log in. So yeah. Oh, this is really making me want to read it. This is really making me want to reread this. I know it's not going to be amazing, but I just miss those characters, you know? Similarly, another one that I read on Wattpad that then got published, it's been indie published, and that is The Boy Who Lost His Sight by Bella Zammary, and this, I remember it broke me. Like, one time, it was in GCSE computing, I think it was like year 10, I was in GCSE IT class. Me and my friend, we were like reading this in the back of the classroom, and we had a cover teacher, which is why we weren't necessarily doing the work. And she was like the loveliest cover teacher ever. And we got to this really emotional bit. I think I read it and then was like making my friend read it. And we both started crying in the back of the class. And it was like us two and a load of boys in the class, like we were the only girls, because not many girls did like computing for GCSE. And the teacher came over and was like, "Oh girls, are you okay?" Like, I mean, like confessed, we were like, "Oh yeah, we just read a sad bit of this book." And she was like, "Oh no, don't worry, I'm so sorry, like let me get you some tissues." She like didn't care that we just weren't doing the work. And she came back and she was like, "I'm so sorry, I've run out of my strawberry scented ones, like I'm gonna have to give you my normal tissues." And we were like, "Miss, it's okay, like thank you for just letting us read in class." So this follows Riley and Ellie. Ellie moves somewhere new, I'm pretty sure, and she goes to a new school, and she realises there's this boy who's kind of on his own, he's blind, and kind of actually just forces her way into his life. They struck up a friendship and it kind of goes from there, and potentially more. But it was just, yeah, really sad, but like so good, and I love it, and I have reread this a couple times. Aww. I've just found all my tabs and I've literally written next to it, "And I love you, Riley." So sweet and cute. Ugh. Like, this book meant so much to me when I was about 14. So yeah, I remember also we were discussing on Wattpad, there's like a bonus chapter where something devastating happens. It's not in the physical book, but it was like a kind of bonus competition sort of thing, I don't know. But something really devastating happens, and that got me. And in English we were discussing like how real characters feel, but they're fiction, like they're not real. And my friend just turned to me in class and just went, "Riley isn't real." And I like Like, that got me. I was like, I've just read something so devastating about Riley and you're just telling me he's not real. Which is true, obviously, but like, yeah. But yeah, this got indie published in Malaysia and I had to ship it from there. So yeah, happy to support the author. But yeah, this was such like a key romance that I read when I was like 14. So yeah. I could talk about these books for like forever. So I have one more YA book to talk about before I jump into the books that kind of transitioned me into adult reading, I suppose. I would say it's a YA mystery thriller, I guess, and that is The 100 Society by Carlos Bradbury. This, for a hot minute, if you asked me what my favourite book was, like in like 2014, maybe 2015, maybe? I don't know. Around that sort of time, I probably would have said The 100 Society. It was once again an ABA book. I just loved this book. At the time, I thought it was kind of crazy. It was definitely like a mystery thriller set in a kind of... Is it a boarding school or just a normal school? I'm pretty sure it's like a boarding school and they have this kind of like secret society called the 100 Society, and you have to graffiti your like tag in 100 set locations across the town, and they're kind of dangerous. So I'll read what's on the back because I feel like that describes the kind of blurb a bit more. 100 locations around the city must be graffiti tagged, with each new location posing a greater risk than the last. Having convinced her friends to play, Grace will stop at nothing to reach 100. But someone is one step behind them, watching from the shadows, determined to end their game. And before they know it, Grace and her friends are each being targeted one by one, but it's too late to turn back. I remember loving this and being like shocked at the ending. Another honourable mention is Carlos Bradbury's other book, which is The Memory Hit, which is about this kind of like drug called Nostalgex that you can take, and it kind of takes you back into memories, like it, yeah, nostalgia. This is another YA thriller. This one says, imagine you were able to watch your memories like a movie. With the drug Nostalgex, you can. On New Year's Eve, Jess's life is unrecognisable. Her best mate is in hospital, her boyfriend is a cheater. Across town, Cooper is in trouble, bound and gagged in the boot of a car. On New Year's Day, Jess and Cooper's worlds collide. They will need to take Nostalgex to work out what went wrong and how to make it right again. Carlos Bradbury, yeah, really introduced me to like YA thrillers, which I hadn't read before. So yeah, did I get this one signed as well? Yeah, I did. Oh my god, I remember now because she signed it. I was like, and I said something about wanting to be an author or whatever, and then she was like, and then here's my socials. And on another page she just put at Carlos Bradbury. I should check and see if she's written any more. God, doing this video is making me want to reread all these books. It's not good, it's not good. So now moving on to the more adult reads. Another big author on my channel, if you've been around here for more than like a month, you'll know is Agatha Christie. My introduction to Agatha Christie was just the fact that I went to the library, I was bored of looking in the kind of children's section, the YA section, so I was like, you know what, I want to read a mystery, I want to read an adult book, so I'm going to go into the adult section and just pick up a random mystery. When I was in the mystery section, I noticed that they had loads of Agatha Christie's, and I was like, well, if she's got that many books published, she must be good, right? So I just picked up a random one, and that was The Mystery of the Blue Train, which is a Hercule Poirot mystery. This I must have read when I was like 15, maybe younger, I don't know. But I borrowed it from the library and I have not looked back. I've always really liked mysteries that are set abroad, and this is set on a train going down to Nice, I believe. I even love at the top it says Agatha Christie is the gateway drug to crime fiction, and she totally was for me. This was the book that kind of got me into adult crime fiction, murder mysteries. I think every now and then I had watched a Poirot episode, so I knew the character in my head, but picking up my first book, this was just like, I was gonna say life-changing. It's not obviously that big, but like, Agatha Christie is now obviously my favourite author. I have like so many of her books. 4 of these shelves are full of Agatha Christie books. All because I picked up The Mystery of the Blue Train when I was like 15. So yeah, I haven't read it since, and I have this Agatha Christie reading tracker where you can review each of Agatha Christie's books and whether you solved it or not. So I feel like I need to do a reread before I can give an accurate review in the journal. But yeah, this was my first Agatha Christie. Bit of a random one. I don't know why I picked up this one, and it wasn't even this cover, it was the like photo cover. I can think of it so clearly, like picking this off the shelf and taking it home. I have never looked back. So the last book that I'm going to mention today is a romance, and it was kind of the book that kind of really pushed me into like adult romance, as opposed to books like Sophie Kinsella that were like, I don't know, contemporary chick lit, like I don't know, women's fiction as it's been called before. So I actually googled Wattpad books that have been published, and one of them was called Burning Moon, which I have here. by Jo Watson. Now, Jo Watson is an author that I have mentioned loads on my channel. She is quite possibly my favourite romance author. The Destination Love series, which this is book 1 of, is, yeah, one of my favourite romance series ever. I actually bought it for a friend first. I saw it in the works and just bought it for my friend. And I think she enjoyed it and I was like, you know what, I'm going to read this too. So I borrowed it from the library. I think I borrowed the first 3 books from the library and really enjoyed it. This was really good. I think I gave this one like 4.5. My favourite in the series is definitely Almost a Bride. This is one of my favourite romance books ever. This has like fake dating. It's kind of like cheesy. It's just stupid, but I just love it. It's just so fun and a perfect little holiday romance for me. I used to reread it every year until I think like 2 years ago. I think I've read it like 6 or 7 times at this point. I think this was the only one that was on Wattpad and then the rest of the series has gone from there. But there's Burning Moon, Almost a Bride, Finding You, After the Rain, and then The Great Escape. I just love the characters. It follows a friendship group. I love them all. But yeah, this one was definitely my favourite. I picked up Burning Moon because I literally googled Wattpad books that have been published and then yeah, found Almost a Bride and I'm so glad I did. This one follows Annie. Basically, Annie goes home unexpectedly during her work day. What does she find? Her boyfriend in bed with his secretary. It's kind of a whole silly intro. She accidentally then gets arrested. And so she decides to just up and go to Mauritius. And then when she gets there, what are the chances her ex is there with his new girlfriend, the one she found him in bed with? I'm pretty sure it was on the beach. She then meets Chris, who she convinces to be her fake boyfriend to make it look like she's already moved on from her ex. And then it says, but as the battle of the exes commences, the white sand, tropical heat and a pina colada or 5 might just be the cocktail for a real romance and the adventure of a lifetime. The battle of the exes is so silly. Like, you kind of just have to not take it seriously, but it's just so fun. Like, it's so fun. I'm just smiling every time I read this. So there we go. Jo Watson, one of my favourite romance authors. So there we have it. Those are kind of 8 and a couple honourable mentions. 8 books that kind of got me into reading both as a teenager and more into like adult reading, I guess. Let me know if you've read any of them. I feel like hardly any of them have been mentioned on the kind of BookTube community, but they have a special place in my heart because I read them and they got me into reading from the 13-year-old me, from the 2013 like dystopian sci-fis, thrillers, to like the adult romances, how I got into Patrick Ness and Agatha Christie. There we go, that's like the Emily backstory, I guess. The lore behind Emily's reading. My cup of tea is now rather cold, so I'm going to go drink that. Thank you very much for watching. If you made it through to the end, I really do appreciate it. Please give it a like if you enjoyed it and subscribe if you're new around here because I really do appreciate each and every one of you. And I look forward to seeing you soon with a brand new video. Bye!